Not everything archaeologists or historians discover gives them the answers they're hoping for. Sometimes, they find things that completely contradict everything we've been taught about the past, and the truth behind them isn't always easy to accept. No matter how unbelievable they seem, these discoveries become part of history the moment they're discovered, even if they leave experts questioning long-held beliefs about our past. In today's video, you'll see some of the most mysterious ancient discoveries ever found, discoveries that continue to raise more questions than answers. So, ready to see the impossible yourself? Well, let's get started. Number 15. The eternal lamps in tombs well. People have always believed that death was not the end of the journey. Across many ancient civilizations, tombs were filled with food, treasures, weapons, and according to countless old accounts, lamps that never seemed to burn out. Travelers, monks, and early historians all described opening long-sealed burial chambers only to find a flame still glowing inside, despite centuries of darkness. Stories like these surfaced in Egypt, Italy, and parts of India, with one of the most famous appearing in 15th century Rome, where a lantern was reportedly discovered still shining inside an ancient tomb. Whether those reports were misunderstood or completely true remains fiercely debated. A fire cannot survive for centuries without fuel or oxygen, at least according to modern science. But there are many stories that refuse to disappear. Ancient inscriptions even mention sacred lights that never die, while Egypt's famous Dendera relief has been interpreted by some as resembling an electric lamp. Perhaps they never mastered electricity, but their fascination with eternal light is impossible to ignore. Number 14. The ancient alien clay head. The people who lived long before us left behind countless statues, carvings, and mysterious objects. Most are easy enough for archaeologists to recognize, but a few seem almost impossible to place. One of those turned up in 2024 at Bahra 1 in Kuwait, where researchers uncovered a tiny clay head unlike anything most people would expect from a settlement over 7,000 years old. Its slanted eyes, elongated skull, and flat, narrow nose look strikingly similar to the way modern culture imagines alien beings. Yet this figure belongs to the Ubaid culture, which spread from Mesopotamia into the Arabian Gulf between roughly 5500 and 4900 BCE. Similar figures have appeared in graves and ceremonial places, often described as lizard-like or serpent-headed. This example, however, came from what seems to have been an ordinary working area. Analysis also revealed it was made from Mesopotamian clay rather than local material, proving someone intentionally carried it there, though the reason has disappeared with time. Number 13. The ancient glass plate depicting Jesus well. Almost every picture of Jesus you've ever come across probably looks the same. Long hair, a full beard, and the calm face we've grown used to seeing for centuries. But one ancient discovery suggests that this image wasn't always the one early Christians knew. In 2014, archaeologists working near Linares, Spain, uncovered fragments of a shattered glass plate that had survived for nearly 1,600 years. After carefully fitting the broken pieces together, they managed to restore almost 80% of the original object. Dating back to the 4th century, the plate was almost certainly used during early Christian Eucharistic ceremonies. Yet it was the engraved figure that drew immediate attention. Standing beside the cross, together with what are believed to be St. Peter and St. Paul, Jesus appears completely different. He has short hair, no beard, and wears the robe of a Roman philosopher. Now we've a question for you. When did the familiar image of Jesus that everyone recognizes today actually begin? Number 12. The tools that came too soon. According to science, human history follows a timeline that has been built piece by piece over generations. But that timeline sometimes falls apart after a single discovery. And that is what happened when archaeologists found the stone tools of Lomekwi III in West Turkana. Dating back around 3.3 million years, these artifacts pushed the beginning of tool-making much farther into the past than anyone had expected. The biggest surprise came from their age, because they are older than the earliest known members of the genus Homo. That means the hands responsible may have belonged to a much older ancestor. Scattered across the site were huge stone cores, heavy anvils, and sharp flakes showing unmistakable signs of deliberate shaping rather than accidental damage. Their unusual style differed so greatly from later industries that researchers gave them their own name, the Lomequian tradition. Those rough stones suggest that the desire to shape the world may have begun long before humanity itself truly emerged. Number 11. The jade inlaid skull with denture. The people who lived in ancient America understood the human body in ways that still surprise experts today. One discovery from near Teotihuacan proves just how advanced some of their practices may have been. In 2016, researchers examined the remains of a woman whose skull had been intentionally elongated during childhood, a tradition associated with beauty, identity, and social standing. But her teeth told an even greater story. Several had been carefully decorated with jade inlays, while one missing tooth had been replaced with a polished piece of green serpentine carved to fit the empty space. This was not a decorative ornament placed after death. The stone showed signs of having been worn during her lifetime, suggesting it served as a functioning replacement nearly 16 centuries ago. Her burial also contained ceremonial vessels, hinting that she held an important position within her community. Even today, nobody knows who she was, how this dental work was performed, or how widely such knowledge once spread. Number 10. The Lost Tavern at Brunswick Town. The world we live in is filled with places that remain completely unexplored. We're not talking about the Congo Basin, Antarctica, or the Great Pyramids, but places people pass by every single day without ever realizing what lies beneath them. One such place sat quietly in Brunswick Town, North Carolina, until archaeologists made an unexpected discovery in 2019. Hidden below the surface were the burned remains of a tavern that nobody even knew had existed. Despite the town being well documented throughout the 18th century, the building appears on no surviving map or official record. At some point during the 1760s, fire brought the structure down, and the collapsing debris sealed everything inside for centuries. When archaeologists finally reached it, they recovered untouched clay pipes, liquor bottles, brass barrel taps, Irish pennies dated 1766, and several unusual iron tools unlike any previously found there. Some historians believe it secretly operated as a brothel serving sailors, which could explain why its existence quietly disappeared from history. But the truth remains unknown. Number 9. The Gasulian star. Some symbols seem to carry meaning even when nobody remembers the language that gave them life. The Gasulian star is one of those rare objects. Although it first came to public attention during a museum exhibition in Jerusalem in 2016, the artifact itself had been discovered decades earlier inside a cave in Jordan during excavations in the 1930s. More than 6,000 years have passed since someone carefully shaped its distinctive 8-pointed design, yet its message remains completely unknown. It belongs to the Chalcolithic period, long before writing existed to explain beliefs, traditions, or ceremonies. That silence has left archaeologists with little more than thoughtful speculation. Some believe the symbol represents the sun, while others connect it with religious practices or forgotten systems of communication. None of those ideas can be confirmed. Despite generations of research, the star continues to guard its secret without offering the slightest clue. Sometimes the greatest mystery is not how an object survived for thousands of years, but how its meaning vanished so completely. Number 8. The ancient gate to the underworld Monument 9, better known by the haunting name Portal al Inframundo. is one of those ancient creations that leaves far more questions than answers. For years, many archaeologists have connected it with the idea of a gateway leading into the underworld, although nobody can say with certainty whether that belief reflects ancient religion or symbolic art. Carved by the Olmecs between roughly 800 and 400 BC, this enormous monument weighs more than 2.00 pounds and was fashioned from volcanic rock into what resembles a mountain with the open mouth of a powerful jaguar carved across its center. Its journey through modern history became almost as mysterious as its origin. Decades ago, thieves stole the monument, shattered it into 18 separate pieces, and smuggled the fragments into private collections throughout the U.S. After years of investigation, Mexico finally recovered it in 2023. Its true purpose, however, remains locked somewhere in the distant past. So, what's your theory about it? Drop it down below. Number 7. Paddle doll of Thebes. As most like to think, not every ancient Egyptian object was meant to impress people with fine details or perfect beauty. Some were simple, but somehow feel even more mysterious because of it. One example is the so-called paddle doll, discovered at Thebes nearly a century ago. Dating to Egypt's Middle Kingdom around 4,000 years ago, the figure consists of little more than a flat wooden body decorated with long strands of colorful beads that fall like flowing hair. There is no carved face, no feet, and hardly anything that resembles a real person. Even so, someone believed it deserved a place beside the dead. Archaeologists have spent decades debating its purpose. Some connect it with ritual dancers whose bead strands would have shaken to produce rhythmic sounds during ceremonies. Others believe it represented fertility, protection, or rebirth in the afterlife. No ancient text explains its role. The graves remained silent, leaving only this unusual figure to carry a forgotten tradition across thousands of years. Number 6. The stone burial cyst. Sometimes history waits beneath familiar ground for thousands of years before quietly revealing itself. That happened in 2021 on Scotland's Orkney Islands, when a farmer unexpectedly uncovered a carefully built stone burial cyst while working his land near the famous Neolithic settlement of Skara Brae. Resting inside was an almost untouched human skeleton dating back roughly 4,000 years. What surprised archaeologists most was the remarkable condition of the burial. The stone chamber had remained tightly sealed, preventing even the smallest animals from entering, so tiny bones and fragile remains stayed almost exactly where they had originally been placed. For the farmer, the discovery was especially astonishing because he had spent years crossing the same field without suspecting anyone lay beneath it. Equally puzzling, no surrounding graves have yet been found. That leaves researchers wondering whether this individual belonged to the people of Skara Brae or represents an entirely separate community. Number 5. The Celtic deity figurine with a mullet fashion has never belonged to one generation. Long before magazines, celebrities, or social media, people were already expressing themselves through the way they looked, and one tiny discovery from England reminds us just how little some things really change. In February 2021, archaeologists studying a small copper figurine found near Cambridge noticed something unexpectedly familiar. The figure, believed to represent a Celtic deity from around 19 centuries ago, appears to wear what many jokingly describe as a classic mullet, complete with what may even be a neatly shaped mustache. Barely 2 inches tall, the object probably once formed the handle of a small tool, perhaps a spatula, although the rest disappeared long ago. That missing piece makes its original purpose difficult to determine. What survives, however, raises an entertaining question. Did ancient people picture their gods with hairstyles like their own, or was this simply the everyday appearance of men during the Iron Age? Now, let's move to Number 4. The rock drill from Bursa modern-looking inventions often make us forget that ancient craftspeople solved many of the same problems thousands of years ago. One small discovery from Bursa brought that idea sharply back into focus. During excavations in 2019, archaeologists uncovered a finely shaped flint tool inside an ancient tomb that bears a striking resemblance to the tip of a modern drill bit. Dating back about 75 centuries, the object immediately sparked debate about its original purpose. Researchers cannot say with certainty whether it helped carve the tomb itself or accompanied the deceased because it held personal importance. Either possibility speaks volumes about the skills of the people who made it. Human communities had already been living in the region for centuries, developing techniques that reached far beyond simple survival. Stone beads recovered from the same burial may even have been pierced using this very tool. Excavations at the site have continued since 2004, yet few discoveries have raised as many fascinating questions as this surprisingly familiar piece of stone. So, is it actually lost? Tech. Number 3. The Dazu rock carvings. Few ancient places tell a story quite like the Dazu rock carvings. Spread across the hills of Chongqing, China, this enormous collection contains thousands of sculptures and inscriptions carved directly into the stone, reflecting centuries of faith, daily life, and human imagination. Rather than following a single religion, the carvings bring together Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, allowing ideas from different traditions to exist side by side in an unusually peaceful way. Historians believe the earliest carvings began during the 7th century, while new additions continued for roughly another 500 years. Then, without any clear explanation, the carving simply stopped. No record survives to explain why such an ambitious project came to an end. Another mystery surrounds the site's modern history. Outside the surrounding communities, very few people even knew these carvings existed until the 1960s. Alongside sacred figures, the cliffs preserve farmers, musicians, merchants, and ordinary families, offering one of the most vivid surviving windows into everyday life in medieval China. Number 2. Rias bronzes now. This discovery is super perplexing. Back in 1972, a scuba diver swimming off the coast of Calabria, Italy, noticed what first looked like an ordinary arm rising from the seabed. Instead, he had stumbled upon 2 life-sized bronze warriors resting beneath the water for more than 2,000 years. Their bodies remain astonishingly lifelike, with powerful muscles, carefully shaped curls, copper lips, and eyes once filled with ivory and precious stone. Yet, for all their beauty, nobody can confidently identify them. They match no known gods, kings, or legendary heroes. Some historians believe they once stood together as part of a grand monument, while others suspect they were valuable cargo lost during a violent storm at sea. Even their final journey remains uncertain. Forged in ancient Greece but discovered off Italy's shoreline, these silent warriors continue guarding a mystery that has survived empires, earthquakes, and centuries beneath the Mediterranean without ever revealing the names they once carried. Number 1. Curse tablets from Athenian Wells. Well, before courts settled arguments and written laws reached everyone, many people placed their faith somewhere far darker. Instead of pleading with judges, they whispered their anger to unseen powers, hoping the underworld would deliver the punishment they desired. That belief came back into the spotlight in 2020, when archaeologists recovered more than 30 thin lead curse tablets from the bottom of an ancient well in Athens. Each one carried hastily scratched names alongside desperate appeals to underworld deities, asking rivals to lose, suffer, fall silent, or fail completely. The writing feels deeply personal rather than ceremonial, almost as though the people carving those words believed every stroke carried real power. The choice of the well mattered just as much as the message itself. Ancient Greeks often viewed deep wells as pathways connecting the living with the world below, making them the perfect place to deliver supernatural requests. The names remain, but the feuds behind them disappeared long ago, leaving only raw human emotion preserved in lead. If you've enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon.